Hello everyone and welcome to the next episode of my Timberborn series where we play the Iron Thief on the Lakes map. So last episode we've actually done quite a bit. Currently we're not in the drought anymore, so the fresh water is coming in. I have sped it up, let me slow it down a little bit. As you can see, water is slowly pouring in. We are going to lower the floodgates just to make sure our water is coming through a little bit faster. We have increased our builder capacity, and in theory we do have a holding post, but currently we do not have enough people to, beavers to work this. We've also built a little bit more of housing, or put down a little bit more of housing, as well as a rooftop terrace, and actually a path to get to that rooftop terrace. So right now I still have 3 of these. Hold on, quick check. Our water down here ran out, so I'm going to open this part here. And as you can tell, there's not a lot of water in there, but it will kind of at least sort of get us through this. So, and this is where the big problem comes in. So water is coming in here, but with the next drought, as they are getting longer, we will not be able to rely on our water supply to actually ensure that our crops can keep growing. So initially I was thinking about water storage, but the more I think about it, not water storage in terms of these water tanks, but more as how we can retain water so that we can keep pumping water. So instead, I think we are going to focus more on actually storing water in some of these tanks. So currently we had put a farmhouse in there. I'm going to remove this. I'm glad we didn't build this. What I am going to do is leave a little bit of space here, and we're going to place down some big water tanks. Having said that, we do need 20 gears for that, and currently we're not producing gears. So instead, for now, let's actually put down some small water tanks. Some here, and 2 more here. That will actually enable us to store much more water, which when the bad tide hits, hopefully will be able to get us through that dire need of water while we're waiting for the normal water to come back. So having set all of this up, water is flowing through here now, so I am going to raise this again to 1.45. And I am going to raise these to 0.55, which will enable us to fill all of this area with water, and hopefully should allow us to have the water tip over here. It's already doing it. Unfortunately, there seems to always be a little bit of a frame issue with this. You can kind of see the water on the bag is higher, but as it goes through half of this piece, I'll actually start to create that water line over here. Maybe at some point they'll fix it, but ultimately it's not a big issue. In the meantime, we had some more of our beavers grow up, so currently we have 10 vacancies, which means all of our holding posts are in vacancies, which also means I am going to unpause this guy here and select the fermented cassavas as a recipe. So the next thing we also need to think about is storage for this additional food source. I'm going to put one here like we kept available earlier. And here are the fermented cassavas. So all of this is set up as well. In the meantime, our beavers have been building pretty intensely on this little holding area here. It will not get us all the way to where we need to be, but you know, it is a starting point. Once this is built, I think we're gonna just fill this up with compact water wheels just to ensure that our energy supply is high enough. At the moment, we're producing, well, not that much to be honest. And I think this might be in part because of our beavers starting to build this as well. So in the meantime, we are not producing cassavas, which is a bit weird because we do have enough cassavas in here. So what is missing? I actually don't know. Oh, here we go. Our beaver, again, no idea how to pronounce this, has actually brought the first cassavas in there and is currently actually fermenting them, which will give us an additional food source and increase our beaver's happiness, which is always a good thing to do. So in the meantime, let's plan a little bit more ahead. So like I said, we're gonna store a little bit of water here, but this will not be enough to keep everything in place. So I think one thing that we should consider is actually having more water storage here before it actually tips over for our water pumpers to actually get the water out for our beavers to drink. So let me speed this up again. So I think one thing that we are going to build is actually over here. We're going to put down these, and maybe the way we're gonna sit now, I think this will be fine. So in addition, we're gonna put in one more dam piece over here, which will enable us, once they're done with building all of this, and I'm going to save right now, once we build the additional power wheels, we can block this off and then have a bit of water storage that ensures that our food supply will actually keep being hydrated, while our water supply will be cut off a little bit faster. Now we do have, again, a little bit of water storage here, which is great, and just like I thought it would be, the next phase will actually be the bad tide. So we do have 3 more days. What would be the most sensible thing to do? It might actually be to finish these pieces. We do have enough of everything, to be honest. But what we might need is additional workers. So for now I'm going to, and this hurts me a lot, we're going to pause our science production, which gives us enough beavers to put into our construction or in our district center to actually help create these pieces of, or these buildings. So in addition, we're going to raise this up. Let's actually double check over here. There's no overflow there, which is great. There's a little bit of overflow here, which I guess is fine. And very soon we will have both of these floodgates in. There's only 10 more logs missing, and we do have 30 at the moment, which, you know, not a bad place to be in. So we are going to actually remove one of the foresters over here and put them back on track over here. So this way, just around our forester, and see he's like surrounded by trees. This is why I like to put them in the middle of things. He is just waiting for new stuff to do. So we're gonna give him one more tree to plant. Obviously that will not really keep him busy. But the next thing we're also going to do, and I'm going to slow everything down for this, we're actually going to remove all of our pine trees, or like placing them, and we're going to replace them with oaks once the current ones actually have been cut down. So with this, we're done this area. I'll put the 2 new ones over here already, because we already have quite a lot of oaks here, and that will be a good starting point for us. Now this has been put into place. We are not letting any water through, and this will not be good. So we're going to set it to the same height as this one, so we actually do have water coming through here, and that means our cassavas for fermenter will actually be able to create more of these. So with that, I'm going to speed everything up as well. Actually, I'm going to slow it down for a second again. We are going to high prioritize all of these buildings, all of the water buildings, in the hope that we will be able to store a bit more water before the bad tide hits, just in case we needed to keep our beavers well hydrated. Speaking of which, one thing that I like to do to unwind is actually have a glass of whiskey. Having lived in the UK myself, it's just very relaxing for me. So cheers to everyone. Really good stuff. You might not like whiskey, but ultimately, I do. We have raised these up. We should be ready for putting them up a bit higher to make sure that the bad water will not go through. And we will keep track of this area here, although I'm not too worried about accidentally pressed pause. I'm really sorry about that. So not too worried about this part over there for the bad tide, but maybe I will be wrong. Who knows? We'll see. I've put down the path over here because ultimately we could probably open up this passageway. Don't think we're going to do this right now because that water bad water would actually flow over here and ultimately kill our trees, which we're trying to avoid. So we will see. Going back on unconnected building, we are still building this part here. We do need more planks, so I'm going to unpause this for a little bit. While I don't think it will actually give us anything, especially now that we're in the resting period, unfortunately. We will need more planks to finish building this part here and actually connecting our rooftop terrace. In the meantime, we're going to watch as the bad tide hits, and we're going to wait as long as we can before we're raising these gates up, just to make sure that we get as much of the regular water in there as possible. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and here we go. Raising it up, a little bit came in, but I found that a little bit will get diluted, so there's nothing for us to worry about. And like I mentioned before, the water is very likely to rise. We can actually watch this happening, and I'm hoping that it will actually just flow down here and then disappear in this direction away from our settlement, considering this area here is already blocked. So, having said that, like I said, we do need to keep an eye on this part here. So it is not increasing. It is increasing ever so slightly. Makes me a bit nervous. So instead, what we're going to do is, just in case, put in some levees here, high prioritize them, and take down our high priority of this last building here. Actually, we can leave this on. We're also going to pause one of the water pumpers just to make sure we will keep enough water in here. And we're also going to pause these two buildings as they are not getting any power supply right now. So with this, we actually have a few haulers now, which is great. But ultimately, the thing we need to focus on, it is it rising? It is rising. It is rising. It's definitely rising. So let's hope our beavers will be able to finish building this. Glad we had a forester over here, so they got quite a few of the logs in pretty fast. It's getting a bit close, but I think we should be able to put this up. The last levee is supposed to go in. Just 6 more logs. Come on, guys, you can do it. Zoomed in a bit too much. It is really tight, but the levee is in, so we are okay on this side of things. Anyone who plays this map and watches these videos, keep that in mind. Dam pieces will not do the trick over here. There's one thing that we do need to consider. It might overtop here and then flow into this. But I am hoping this will not be the case. We still have half a block size to as a buffer, but ultimately maybe we should actually just demolish some of these things over here. Let me put in, actually pause this. I said no pause, so let's put it, here we go, regular speed. I'm going to cancel the demolition here. I'm gonna add the demolition to actually just this part, and we need to connect this. Unfortunately, there was a baby tree in the way, so let's put the speed up on this. I don't know if we'll actually dude, you're killing me. But one more of these in here. Hopefully they will get to cut this down before the water tips over, and there we go. So now we've manually opened this up, which means all the bad tide can actually run down this way and shouldn't overflow. And ultimately there's a blockage in the bag, and now it will actually run down this way. A bit unfortunate, but it will actually not affect our beaver colony. And the more important thing is that we will be okay in terms of height as it comes to this, considering not everyone, or not all the bad tide water needs to run down this way. In the long run, we do want to block this off because we don't want to keep a bad tide storage, so to speak, here. We will have access to bad tide water up here once we build up some kind of staircase up this way, which, just something to keep in mind, will supply our colony with all the bad tide or all the bad water that we will need. So in the meantime, our forester down here has done a pretty good job at cutting things down. 2 of these trees are back into seedlings, so that means they probably naturally propagated, which is fine. All of these seem to naturally propagate, which is also fine. So let's plan again a little bit ahead of time. So we do need a gear workshop, especially for these larger water storage tanks. So we're going to place this right now. It does need 25 planks, which we currently do not have. We have put in a larger storage area for our planks, which will be great. And we do need to figure out a place to actually store our gears. So let's try to build a little bit vertically, as we haven't really done that before. With the additional storage for the planks, we actually don't need those small warehouses anymore, so we can put the staircase here, put a path over here, 2 platforms here, put a little bit of a walkway over here, and then we can put another storage area, for which that's my fault. For these we actually need a warehouse instead of these kind of industrial piles. So we are going to put our warehouse over here, going to set it to gears and set it and forget it. So having done that, we are kind of just waiting. I don't like to wait. We still have 6 more days to go. So one thing that we can definitely do, since we're still producing logs, we're going to, we don't have any paths over here anymore. We're just going to fill this up with 2 more of the small or compact water wheels, connecting our power supply over here, which will help us in the long run with our power supply. So, a couple of more things that we should probably consider. Nobody ever cut down those blueberries. It will die in 1.8 days, but I guess that's Fair enough. Need to keep an eye on this. We are running a little bit low on the water over here. So what we can do now, since we have a bit more backed up water storage, we can let some more of the water in. I think that will be enough. Raised it a bit above what I need it to be, but this water pumper will be fine. We do have plenty of water. We have way more than enough food. Currently we do have 5 ballers in there. So I'm going to actually unpause this guy just so he can chop down some of these trees. So ultimately we get this storage area to work with. And with that, we do need to think about how we're gonna block off this. So I know we just opened it up, but when the bad tide ends, we do need more water to flow in this direction. So what we're going to do is actually put in 3 levees and 1 piece of dam. While it won't allow as much water or bad tide to flow in this direction, it should be enough to keep us safe on this side, where we're definitely now way below our capacity, which is excellent. And with that, a little bit more of the bad tide water will flow over there, but more importantly, once the regular water comes back in, not everything will go down this way, but we'll be able to flow down our water storage area or like back holding area over here. Again, we'd love for our beavers to have the ability to put something on top of these open water areas just to reduce the evaporation rate. Not entirely sure how this could be done, but I could see them actually having a manufacturer for small wooden spheres that could even decay over time, that will reduce or will increase the water retention in the long run. I'm going to also put this last dam piece over here. Again, just so we have enough water supply to keep our food resources in check and, healthy and watered, which will be quite important. And with that, let's see, what else can we figure out? So they are building this now, which is great. We can actually consider starting our metal worker area here. So with 1 scavenger flag, we do cover the entire ruins over here, 250 science. We have plenty of science, so let's definitely do that. Already 1 immediately went and built it, which is great. Still have 3 haulers. Keep in mind the building allows for 10. So whatever the open vacancies are, this is how many haulers, 10 minus this is how many haulers we have. So now this guy's done with chopping down the trees that have regrown. Let's pause them again until these 2 are grown up. And then, so with this one in, we need to think about how to actually turn all of the scrap metal into into actual metal blocks. So here we go. Smelter costs us 300 science. We have 325, so we could build this right now, but we do need gears. So one thing that I want to plan ahead is how to improve our power supply in this area. So this is where all of our water will actually come in. You've seen I've put in some levees here, which will allow us to put the smelter. I think it was called a smelter, right? It is called a smelter. So this is a 4 block depth piece of building, which means if we were to put in a large water wheel. So let's think this through. So first of all, let me remove these paths. Those we don't need anymore. With the large water wheel, it does need a lot of planks, and more importantly, it needs to build up 1 higher. So we do want to improve, or we do want to put this down, or ultimately put it down over there. just to supply our smelter. This is not tall enough, but as you can see on this side here, we do have empty space and we want to improve our water flow in this direction. So what we are going to do is, actually those I don't need immediately. We are going to put these pieces here, which will give us just enough space for our water wheel to be placed in the middle. And that should ultimately do the trick for us. Not entirely sure if that might flood. To be honest, I don't think so. We do have enough space down here, so the water should just speed up and increase our power output. So we'll keep it at that for now. After these things have been built, we will, actually, why not do this right now? We will unlock the water wheel, the big water wheel, or large water wheel, and put it on top here. That's 200 science. Like I said, it needs a lot of resources, so we're going to lower the priority of this. Why are you thirsty? We only have... You're still working and your workday just started. A bit crazy. I guess the reason is that the walkways are pretty long. But again, something to just keep in mind. So maybe in the long run, I guess we will just build this up and probably not build much further in the back here and focus a bit more on this area over here. So I think the biggest problem that we currently have is power supply, which we could consider to fix ultimately. What if we actually just demolish these all the way over here and create a little area over this part here that allows us to put in the manual power wheel. So we would wanna, well, maybe not would wanna, but we could put it basically like this, which means we need a little bit more of a connection over here, just to make sure that we will reach this. And one way to do this will cost us more planks, so we really need to upgrade our plank production. But with this part here, we should actually be okay. So while there will be water like dripping down, I'm hoping that our beavers will just get some wet fur, but still be able to access the water wheel, not the water wheel, the manual power wheel over there. What's it called? Large power wheel that we are going to place here in the long run. This has just shown me we do need one more platform here, and then we can already start putting down some of the power shafts just to connect this up in the long run. I can put this in here already because I can actually access these two things through the corner here. So we don't really need to worry about this. I'm actually speed up the time. I don't know why I had it on slow speed anymore. Because the most important part for us now is to get the bad tide over. Our water supply down here is running pretty low. This is now completely empty, but the nice thing, we can open this now and can block this off, and this way we can very carefully sort of increase the water supply that actually comes through here. Now here's the downside. We have actually blocked this off just to keep some more water within our crops. So we will need to play around with our floodgates over here just to make sure that the water will actually reach our water. But 2.9 days, we have only 80 water left. That's not a lot. I think in the long run, what we want to aim for, considering I think the longest bad tide or drought will be 30 days. Let's assume our beaver is draining 2, maybe 3 waters a day. We want to store about 100 water per beaver. So now we have actually a lot of beavers. that might have gotten a little bit out of hand, so I am going to pause one of the breeding pods for now. Currently we have 5 haulers. We don't need that many haulers, so we're going to reintroduce our scientists. Yay for science. It still means we have about 30 beavers, so we kind of want to store about 3,000 water, so we don't need to pump water during any droughts or bad tides. So let's see. Currently these small water tanks store 30 waters. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 of these, so we have 300. So according to my calculations, we can support 9 beavers. Is that right? No, 3 beavers for a 30-day drought, which let's not get it to that point, please. So we will be working on additional water storage. Now we're not going to build 100 of these small water tanks. Let's actually look into the next bigger size. This can store 10 times the amount, and this can store 40 times the amount of the small water storage. But this actually needs metal. As you can see, it needs 30 metal, whereas this only needs gears. So gears need planks. It's again something to consider. I don't expect there to be a drought 30 days like right away, but we should definitely plan on getting more of or getting our gear production up and running. And seeing this was not a smart move. I am actually going to remove one of these, and I am going to replace it with a 1 height floodgate, so we can actually let water through just in case we need it. But for now we should be fine. Half a day left. I am actually going to pause the water pump just to make sure our crops will not die immediately before the new water comes in. So, can't wait for the normal water. Wow, they actually have done an amazing amount of progress over here. We also need to put in more levees in this direction. And then let's put this on the highest priority so we don't get a beaver locked into this corner. And with that, bad tide ended, so we do have our water kind of coming through. It will take a while basically to wash all of this away. What I might do instead, no, I'm not going to do this. It's like, what if I just open on these all the way, let it go through, and then try to wash it out? While they are building this, we do have another dam in here, which is, well, not great. We need a lot more water basically to come through here. But as you can see, I'm slowing this down now. There's actually, because of the water pressure that this exerts backwards, there's not a lot of flow going in this direction. So, as these guys are finishing building these levees, once this levee is in, I'm actually going to pause this part here. What I am going to do is open up this after all on slow speed. These are open, so let me also pause this, although only the planks are missing, which should be fine, which means a lot of the bad water is going down there, and excellent. It is currently nighttime, so our beavers should not be hit by all of this. And we had some running through there. I hope it was diluted enough. Looks like we're okay. There's no beavers affected by the bad tide over here, which means we're going to unpause this. We're going to unpause our food production here. And we are going to high prioritize this part here as well. So, having done all of this, one thing that we don't need anytime soon is this part here, because we don't need to build another storage on top right now. So I think we're okay for now. So having water going through this, once we're hitting the end of the day, I'm going to start raising all of our floodgates over here, just to make sure that, actually I'm going to raise this right here. What you see there is there's a little bit of bad water stored in this area. So all of this should be washed out, hopefully quickly. It might not be right away. I guess there is, so it's all disappeared now. So we're going to set this to what we wanted it to be, 0.55, which means there's still water coming through there. We are going to raise this now to 0.45, and actually going to undo this right now. We do need power supply for this. We're going to do that next time when basically night hits. So our beavers are producing planks, which is great. Don't quite know where they're putting that in. They might actually be putting them in here. So let's put this on a lower priority. Well, I would like to have this up and running. I think it makes much more sense to focus on the plank production, which that's where they're putting all the planks, which is good. So having said that, night has hit. So we are going to block all of this. We're going to block all of this, which means this area here should fill up, hopefully really soon. I'm not entirely sure what the problem is. No water. I forgot to turn on our water pumpers, so let's definitely turn on those. Nobody has died of thirst, which is good. Not great, but with 2 of our water pumpers in there, why is nobody working? What the hell? Sorry about that. So, okay, now we're producing water again. People are growing up, nobody has died of thirst, which is great, but our water storage is down to 0. So this might have been a big mistake on my side. We do have a gear workshop in there now. We do have storage for gears, so I'm not too worried about this. I do want to pause some of the inventors just to make sure we have some haulers. Everybody is really thirsty, which again, not great. Let's just pick some random beaver. That doesn't look like they're going to die, but we do definitely need to get our water storage up. So I've reduced the amount of sleeping time everybody gets. Well, I know that reduces the amount of time they actually get to have a drink. What happens is once they get this thirsty, they actually need, I think, 2 or more drinks to actually be okay. So let's look at this guy. He is halfway through. Oh wow, he needs a lot more water than just 2 drinks. So let's speed this up. Let's put this actually on highest priority so we can utilize sort of the backlog of water over here, which will be actually quite important. And our beavers are still incredibly thirsty. One of the things that happens because the well-being goes down, they will actually start living, well, shorter periods of time. So we do have some of our beavers dying of old age, which is not great, but it is just what it is. Let me raise this to the highest level in the hope that we can increase our water storage here a little bit, and pause all of these now that we are not producing any electricity anymore or any power anymore. We will leave both of these on. We do have 10 days to go through, which is quite a bit. We had 1 death because of thirst, and honestly I don't know if this will be the only one, which is very unfortunate. But I'm wondering if we maybe should put our pumpers up here, although currently I think we have a bit more water down here, or we can regulate our water down here a bit better than we can up here. So let's leave them where they are. Still only 1 death of thirst. Why aren't you guys pumping faster? Second one died first. So this was a massive mistake on my side that I will hope we will never repeat. Let's see how this goes. Let's remove the pine planting over here. Put in all the oaks where we can fill up the space so our forester has something to do. We're also going to check, and I kind of figured we had missed some of those trees. And we're also going to add some pines for later on, as we will need them to create pine resin, which will actually become quite important. In addition, one thing that we should consider putting in are some mangrove trees. Oh, slow down. Our log plumpers are now without water, so we are paused again. I really need to stop using that space button. We are going to fill this up with more water. There's no more coming out, so we're going to lower this a bit more. Filling up this area a bit more. Always need to watch out that this will not overflow. We have one beaver with nothing to do in range over here, so we can remove this guy. He has done his job. We're also going to clean up this over here. After all, considering, you know, I want to keep or build kind of clean at least. So, let's see. I think if we put in a large storage pile over here for scrap metal, which is there, that will be beneficial. And we're going to unpause this. Those two pine trees are now fully grown, which means we should try to chop them down. We had one more birth. Nobody has died of thirst yet, but we are still really low on water. So let's actually lower this to 0. And then we are going to let a little bit of water in our holding area over there. So while it would be nice to keep our food supply stocked, stuff almost overflowed over here. Like I said, while we're trying to keep our food supply like nice and watered, we do actually have 380 pieces of food, which means we will be okay even if they all die, especially because we have some more berry bushes over here. But we will not survive if we do not have any water. So now we're at this point where we seem to be starting to accumulate some water, which is good. Nobody died of thirst, which is also good. So I think we're out of the danger zone. In the meantime, next time the drought is over, it's now 6.7 days, which is still quite a while. We are going to prioritize giving access to the rooftop terrace. In part because I really don't like this unconnected building warning over here, so we didn't actually need to build this this early until we actually had the platforms in. But either way, I think it will be fine. So we can actually reduce now the work hours back to 16 hours here. Our water supply is actually filling up our water tanks again, which is great. 6 more days to go. After this drought has ended, this is where I'll basically... actually, you know what? I'm going to stop the episode right here. While we're still a bit in a pickle, I think we will be able to manage. Let me actually raise this all the way, lower this all the way, so we can start filling up some more water over here. Although I don't think it will overflow that much, to be honest. But this way we have a better idea of how much water we have left. So with this, while not quite out of the danger zone, I will pause and thank you for watching and hope to see you next time. Bye bye.